Behind every perfectly curated social media feed lies a story, sometimes a dark one. Sarah Mitchell's TikTok account painted the picture of an idyllic life. A successful life coach, loving mother of two, and newly engaged to what seemed like the perfect man. Her posts reached millions, inspiring others with her message of transformation and living your best life. But on March 15th, 2024, that carefully constructed image shattered when police found her lifeless body in the master bathroom of her luxury Nashville home. Choose joy every single day, Sarah would tell her 2.3 million followers, her perfectly manicured hand holding up her morning coffee mug, her signature warm smile beaming through the screen. The irony of those words now haunts everyone who followed her journey, especially those who watched her final video, posted just hours before her death. A video that, in retrospect, contains subtle cries for help that no one recognized in time. At 34, Sarah had built what many would consider a dream life from the ashes of a difficult past. A single mother by 25, she had transformed herself from a struggling waitress into a sought-after life coach, charging $500 per session to help other women reinvent themselves. Her own story of resilience and reinvention became her brand, from rock bottom to rising star. But few knew the real depth of that rock bottom. The abusive first marriage she rarely spoke about, the nights spent in women's shelters with her infant daughter, the restraining order that her ex-husband had repeatedly violated until his death in a car accident 3 years ago. Her children, Sierra, 12, and Lucas, 9, frequently appeared in her videos, and their matching outfits and choreographed dances earned millions of views. But it was the arrival of James Cooper 8 months ago that seemed to complete her fairy tale. The 38-year-old investment banker, with his chiseled features and designer suits, appeared to be everything Sarah had manifested through her vision boards and daily affirmations. In her last Instagram post, she wrote, "When you align yourself with the universe's plan, magic happens." The photo showed her French manicured hand intertwined with James's, her 2.5-carat diamond engagement ring catching the golden hour light. The first red flag appeared 3 weeks after they met, though Sarah didn't recognize it at the time. During one of her live coaching sessions, James had called 17 times. When she finally answered, he claimed he'd been in a terrible accident. Sarah ended the session early, rushing to the hospital he'd named, only to find him calmly waiting in her driveway, claiming there had been a misunderstanding. He'd brought roses and her favorite takeout, and the incident was forgotten, or at least, that's what she told herself. However, Sarah's followers didn't see the deleted messages, the ones where concerned friends noticed subtle changes in her behavior. They didn't see the security camera footage from 3 weeks before her death, showing Sarah frantically running into her house at 2 a.m., mascara streaking down her face. They didn't see the browser history revealing searches for domestic violence hotlines, which were quickly deleted but recovered by digital forensics. The truth about James Cooper began to unravel, like a loose thread pulling apart a designer sweater. His investment banking credentials? Fabricated. His previous marriage ended not in tragedy, as he claimed, but in a restraining order. His real name wasn't even James Cooper. It was James Cooperstein, and he had a history of targeting successful women through dating apps, particularly those with significant social media followings. Detective Lisa Brooks, lead investigator on the case, would later describe it as a masterclass in digital manipulation. James had studied Sarah's online presence for months before orchestrating their chance meeting at a luxury wellness retreat in Sedona. He knew her favorite coffee shop, her daily routine, and her children's schedules. He became the perfect match because he had crafted himself to be exactly that. Even more disturbing, investigators would later find a notebook in his apartment containing detailed observations about Sarah's daily routines, dating back months before their first meeting. The warning signs were there, buried beneath the filters and perfectly staged photos. In her last few months, Sarah's trademark morning motivation videos began starting slightly later each day. Her usually impeccable makeup occasionally showed signs of being hastily applied, possibly covering something underneath. Sharp-eyed followers noticed a slight tremor in her hands during her cooking videos, the way she'd flinch at unexpected sounds. But it was her best friend, Marina Torres, who first noticed something seriously wrong. "Sarah started canceling our weekly coffee dates," Marina told investigators. She'd been teaching women to maintain their independence in relationships for years, but suddenly she was always checking her phone, asking James for permission to make basic decisions. The Sarah I knew would have called it a red flag in any of her coaching sessions. Marina had begun keeping her own record of concerning incidents. The way Sarah's phone would mysteriously die during their increasingly rare conversations, how James would unexpectedly show up at their lunch dates, the growing frequency with which Sarah would cancel plans at the last minute. Most disturbing was the night Sarah called at 3 a.m., started to say something about James, then abruptly hung up, claiming the next day that she'd been sleepwalking. The tension reached a breaking point on March 14th. Security footage from Sarah's upscale neighborhood showed James arriving at her house at 9:47 p.m. At 10:13 p.m., neighbors reported hearing what they thought was an argument, but no one called the police. In a community where image was everything, people had learned to look the other way. The next morning, Sierra went to wake her mother for their traditional Saturday breakfast ritual. Instead, she found the bathroom door locked and water running. When James, who had supposedly left the night before, appeared behind her with a key, Sierra's young mind didn't question why he had returned so early. It wasn't until later that investigators would determine he had never left at all. The scene inside the bathroom was staged with the same attention to detail that characterized Sarah's social media presence. Her body was positioned in the bathtub, made to look like an accidental drowning. The counter displayed her usual array of expensive skincare products, a half-drunk glass of wine, and her phone propped up as if she'd been filming another self-care video. James had even gone so far as to apply her favorite face mask, knowing she often posted about her nighttime skincare routine. But James had made mistakes. The water temperature in the tub was cold. Forensics would later prove it had been running for hours. Sarah's signature rose gold waterproof watch, featured in countless videos, was missing. Most tellingly, her phone's last backed-up location data showed movement at 3 a.m. when she was already dead, tracking a route to a dumpster behind a nearby shopping center, where police would later find her watch and other evidence. The investigation revealed a pattern of calculated control that had begun almost immediately after James entered Sarah's life. Financial records showed he had gradually gained access to her accounts, initially under the guise of helping her optimize her business. He had installed spyware on her phone, monitoring every message, every search, every deleted draft of calls for help. Perhaps most chilling were the draft posts found on her phone, scheduled to go live in the weeks following her death. James had studied her writing style so well that he had created dozens of posts in her voice, intended to maintain her online presence while he made his escape, taking a digital detox to focus on wedding planning. 2 hearts would have been posted 3 days after her death. Sometimes the universe has bigger plans than we do. James and I have decided to elope. Glowing Star was scheduled for the following week. There were posts planned out for months, each one crafted to slowly distance her from her followers without raising suspicion. But James never got to execute his exit strategy. A rookie patrol officer, responding to the initial call, noticed inconsistencies in his story. Detective Brooks, a follower of Sarah's Content Herself, recognized subtle signs of staging in the bathroom scene. Within 48 hours, James Cooper was in custody, his carefully constructed facade crumbling under interrogation. The tragedy of Sarah Mitchell reverberates beyond the true crime community. Her death sparked a national conversation about the dangers of perception versus reality in the social media age. Her followers, who had invested so deeply in her journey of transformation, were left to grapple with the knowledge that behind every perfectly filtered photo might lie an unseen struggle. Sierra and Lucas now live with their grandmother, protected from the media storm that followed their mother's death. Sarah's TikTok account, frozen in time, stands as both a memorial and a warning. The last video she actually filmed, posted the day before her death, carries an unintended poignancy. "Remember," she says, her smile not quite reaching her eyes, "not everything that glitters is gold." In a final twist of fate, Sarah's death accomplished what she had spent her life working toward: helping women transform their lives. The Sarah Mitchell Foundation, established by Marina Torres, now provides resources and support to individuals trying to escape domestic violence, particularly those whose abusers use digital means of control. The story of the life coach who seemed to have it all serves as a stark reminder. In an age where we can curate our lives down to the smallest detail, the most dangerous predators are often those who know exactly how to play the part we're looking for. Sarah's last written words, found in a password-protected note on her phone, read, "If you're reading this, I want you to know the perfect life you see online is sometimes the prettiest prison of all." James Cooper was convicted of first-degree murder in December 2024. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But for the millions who followed Sarah's journey, who believed in her message of transformation and empowerment, the real sentence is a knowledge that behind the ring light and Valencia filter of her perfect life, a woman was silently screaming for help. Perhaps the most important lesson from Sarah Mitchell's story isn't about manifesting our dreams or choosing joy. It's about looking beyond the carefully crafted images we're shown and remembering that sometimes the brightest smiles hide the deepest pain. In the end, her legacy isn't the lifestyle she portrayed online, but the lives that might be saved by telling her true story. The final piece of evidence, discovered months after her death, was a video draft never posted to her account. In it, Sarah sits in her bathroom, the same bathroom where she would later die, and begins to speak about domestic violence. The video cuts off abruptly as a door opens off-screen. It was dated 3 days before her death, a final attempt to tell her truth that came too late.